room 1, but I was in room 6. So I'm sorry, room 1. You probably had a lot of people coming in going, what is happening? Why does she keep adding people to my room? I kept thinking, we only have 3 in here. I'll keep moving them in. Where are they going? Then I realized I'm not in room 1. I'm in room 6. So how was that? How was the breakout room? Man, our room, we did such great sharing and talking about some of the experiences that we had. And, you know, if it's okay, if it's okay, Fiona, I'm going to share your takeaway. But she just said, you know, I started journaling, or I started doing the exercise, and then I realized some other things and I started journaling about it. And she said, I have really grown this last year. And I started journaling on that. And she said, you know, I realize I'm not where I want to be, but I'm kind of hard on myself. How many of you might be kind of hard on yourself? I've been hard on myself too. And that's one of the things I think that stops me going forward, is because I'm really hard on myself when I'm making changes. And can I just tell you, I didn't start out feeling super comfortable with myself when I started doing this work. In fact, if it's okay, I want to share with you, I'm going to see if I can pull it up really quickly, a picture of myself, sort of some directions that I was going in as I was growing when I first got introduced to this material, and how I felt about myself. And you know what? I'm super grateful that I was able to go through this experience of having my picture taken. Let me see if I can pull it back up. There we go. So these are pictures of when I first started doing the work. So this was in 2016. This is how I felt. I didn't feel really comfortable with myself. I was really unsure about myself. And in 2017, I started learning a little bit more about myself. I wasn't quite comfortable. 2018, I started feeling a little bit more. You can see during the progression of the year, you know, I would feel comfortable. I'd get shy. I wasn't confident. And then 2019 happened. And then I got to a point where 2020, I got my picture taken again, and I was a whole different person. And now we're in 2023. I am not the same person that I was when I first started. And what's so great is that I loved that I documented that about myself. I'm really forever grateful that I have seen how far I've come. There is this really great natural law called the law of relativity. I really love this law. I want you to imagine 3 boxes. The first box is a small box. The second box is a medium box. And the third box is a big box. And I have to tell you that sometimes if you imagine yourself in the middle box and you're looking at your goal and you say, I want that goal. That's what I want to accomplish. And sometimes as we get feedback, we start getting frustrated at that box. And we say, I want that gift, and I'm very frustrated at it because I'm not getting it. And we start turning really hard towards ourselves. And we start judging ourselves, and we start saying, you can't do it. Who are you to say that you can do this? See, you can't do it. See? And this is where you want to stop, and you want to take a look back to the smaller box and say, look how far I've come. When you start going back to the energy of, I thought about that the same way back then, and look at how far I've come. Do you not think I have goals that I look at and I'm like, ooh, I want that right now? Of course I have those kinds of goals. We are always unfolding. We're always wanting more. That's how we're made. We're made for expansion and fuller expression. We're made to go further. That's why we have this need to want more. Do you know what? Imagine a baby in a crib. And that baby hasn't learned to turn over yet. Have you ever tried to reason with a 3 or 4 month old? Look, you really got to turn over. It's really important for your development that you turn over right now. Turn over. No, a baby starts realizing its environment and it says, Well, it doesn't say anything, but it's like it has this natural curiosity. I want to have my own empowerment and I want to turn myself over. And a baby flips over and it's a milestone. No one had to reason with that baby. It was a want. It wanted to do it. It had a natural thing of wanting to express. Have you ever seen a baby who started to crawl and when they want to stand up? Oh my word, they get into everything. I've had 3 of them. I know this. But I don't have to reason with the baby. Look, you need to start walking. You need to stop crawling and start walking, because let me tell you, if you don't learn to walk, you're not going to go to the grocery store. You're not going to be able to go to college. You're not going to be able to date. You can't do that at that level. And yet I think so many of us are so hard on ourselves. And we don't know how to look back and celebrate how far we have come. I love looking back over the year and seeing how far I've come. I really like the person I've become as I've learned to bless and release things that no longer serve me, worry and doubt. Do you think I still have worry and doubt today? Of course I do. I'm just much better at handling it. I've learned about a few things about myself. Do I still get frustrated at times? Yes, I do. I just get better at dealing with it. I've gotten better to move towards my goal. If you have a sticky note or something next to you, I would love for you to take a sticky note, and on one side of the sticky note, even if it's just a piece of paper, you just get a small piece of paper. On one side, I want you to put situation. On the other side, turn it over, and I want you to write solution. Sometimes it's a matter of which side of the paper are you looking at when an issue or a circumstance comes up. Sometimes when a situation comes up, I look at it and I keep looking at the situation. I keep making it wrong. I don't like this situation. I'm reacting to the situation. I don't like it. But guess what happens if I turn the page? Well, what kind of solution would I love to have then? Sometimes people don't know the difference if they're looking at the situation or the solution. And this is why, if you take a look at it, you cannot look at both of them the same time. You can only look at one or the other. There are many times I've sat down in my journaling and I've looked at something and I've said, is this the situation? Do I keep thinking about the situation, or do I turn it over and look at the solution? That one idea, if you took that into 2024, if you were able to notice situations and ask yourself, or when things happen, am I looking at the problem or am I looking at the solution? Am I deeming this a problem, or is this just a situation? Some people I know most people think when they're going to come to Bless and Release and we talk about bringing in 2024, people are like, oh, good, I'm going to get my goal down and I'm going to do a whole bunch of things. You've done your goal over and over again. You already know your goal. It's not about figuring out the goal. It's about figuring out, how do I express my goal in 2024? Sometimes it's knowing that when you come to situations, you put your attention on the situation instead of saying, well, of course, this is going to show up. If I'm going towards this idea, I have to learn to deal with things towards this as well. When I have a goal, one of the things that I have learned is that in my goal, the river of life, I've been going down the river of life. I've been traveling down the river of life, and I'm going through all these turns and twists and turns and all these things that are happening in my life that I don't like. And I want to stop those. I want to stop just letting all these twists and turns rule my life. So what I explain to people of what I've done, and I've seen many, many people do this themselves, is that they take a stake and they put that in the river. And yes, the river keeps going. The cause and effects of life keep happening. They keep happening, but you put this stake in the river, and at the top of this stake is your goal. And you say, this is my goal. I understand the river is going, but this is my goal. Do you remember the game of a tetherball pole? You know, it's a pole with a rope and a ball, and you hit it and you make it go round and around. Well, if we pretend that this is a stake in the river and it turns to a telephone or not a telephone pole. What's the word I was saying?
Tetherball.
Tetherball. Oh my word, I kept putting telephone in there. Tetherball. And this is a tetherball at the top, and there's a rope that's attached to a ball. And that ball sometimes will hit events that are going to happen. These are called circumstances. And when this ball hits a circumstance, this is when you want to be, most people, what they do is they're like, oh no, the ball hit this. There's a situation that's happened, a circumstance that's happened, and we yank up our goal and we go over there to the drama of this and we let this rule. And what I want to tell you to do, if you could learn one thing for 2024, it's that you keep your stake there. And this thing that happened, you want to ask yourself, what does this have to do towards my goal? What does this have to do towards this? And you will find that a lot of times things that you have brought that idea up, it's a habit that you're used to seeing and you're used to partaking in. And you're going to say, wait a minute, if I put my attention on this, then I'm not putting my attention on this. You could make a decision today. I want to go through 2004 in absolute joy of my idea, so that any circumstance that shows up, you can say, okay, I want to be able to analyze this idea here. If this is my goal and this happens, what does this have to do with my goal? Does it exist? Absolutely, it exists. But is this something that you need to put your attention on, or is this something that you can say, for the time, what does that have to do with me? Is that someone else's cause that's created that effect? A natural law of cause and effect. There is a cause to an effect. What does that look like in real life? Well, my daughter bought a car. And she had about $5,000 to put down on a car. And I said to her, why don't you get a new car? They didn't have any down payment. She had to just make payments on a new car. And I said, keep putting money into your fund, but take the $5,000 and use that for your payments every single month. You have this new car, because she had to drive kind of far away for her work. And she said, no, I don't want the pressure of having a car payment. And I said, well, you have like $5,000 banked up. And she said, no, I don't want to do that. It just feels like a lot of pressure. Okay. So she got a car for $5,000. She started driving it, and guess what happened? It broke down. So she calls mom and dad late at night. My car broke down. Don't you have BCAA? Yes. Dad, can you come and rescue me? Of course, dad says, of course, you're my daughter. Gets in the car, drives and goes, helps her. Well, this happens she has to put more money in the car to fix the car. This happens about 3 or 4 times. And finally, I realized, why are we taking on responsibility for her car? That was her decision. That's her cause and effect. And Matt said, well, I can't just leave her out in the middle of nowhere with this car. And I said, she can buy BCAA. They can service her. It'd be cheaper than having us have to go out there. And then guess what happened? Matt he went to Canadian Tire. And he was at Canadian Tire. And guess what? He went to grab something out of the back, had started the car, went to grab something in the back, and locked the keys in the car, running. BCAA said, you've used all of your times You've used all of your time. So guess what? Called me, can you bring the other car with your keys so I can get in? And so it was so funny when my daughter called and said, I need BCAA. We will buy you BCAA for a year. I will buy you it because we're not going to go out anymore. That was her cause and effect. Do you know what I mean? How many of you are living in other people's cause and effect? And you keep rescuing them over and over again. And of course, then Matt and I, we wouldn't sleep well because we were woke up in the middle of the night or had to go do something. And of course, then we get cranky at one another. And all of a sudden, we don't know why we're upset at one another. And then it's like, wow, what is the cause to the effect of all of this going on? And you realize, wow, sometimes we get caught up in people's drama and we think we're helping them when really we're not. They have their own cause and effect. How many of you think that is just so selfish of you to think that way? You're right. It is. It is. But I will tell you, I could not get to the things that I wanted because I kept getting caught up in other people's drama, thinking I was helping them. Thinking I was helping. Was I really helping? Not really. Not really. Sometimes things that get in our way and our goals and achieving our goals are not because you chose the wrong goal. It's because there is what's called an essential and an incidental. If this is my goal, there's all kinds of things that are surrounding your goal that get in the way of your goal. And those things have to be dealt with. I call those things touching lightly. You want to touch lightly on those incidental things that come up in life, where you look and you say, oh, that's a cause and effect towards an idea. Sometimes we'll get ourselves off track because we're worried or we're concerned or what about this and what about this? And can I just ask you a question? How many of you had during the 2 years that we were there with COVID, how many of you had a lot of worry and doubt the end is near? How many of you had that and were worried and concerned the whole time and were bothered by it? And it caused maybe some anxiety or maybe some things that were going on in your life. And when you think about it, even on our worst day, we survived. I tend to look back and I say, even on the worst thing that happened, I survived. I'm still here today. And so do I need to bring all of that worry and fussing and fuming into every situation? Can I just be still and let it pass? Do I need to get so involved in some of these issues that I lose myself in them? There was a couple of periods of times where I told Matt, okay, we have to just buy a whole bunch of canned goods and we've got to stock up in case the world comes to an end. Oh, yeah, I did that as well. I got a little bit worried and I was like, what happens if there isn't any toilet paper? Were you one of those people that got like 20 rolls of 20 packages of toilet paper? What did COVID have to do with toilet paper? This I still want to know to this day. I don't see the connection, but we went crazy on some things, right? It was like, wow, everybody's buying toilet paper. I better go get a bunch of toilet paper. And we panicked. I mean, let me tell you, was COVID the best teacher or what? It was such a good teacher for us. The part of us learning to get involved in energy and did something happen. Now, I do realize some people did pass away during COVID. I'm not saying that that did not happen. It absolutely happened. But I can tell you, I'm not sure some of the things that we did made a difference for it or not. I'm not sure all the worry, all the doubt, all the loss of jobs, all the things that we did Do you know when people ask, where's all the money? You know, we're going to stop our economy. We have the same amount of money that we had before COVID. No more, no less. It's the same amount of money just circulating. And when that circulation stops because we're worried or concerned, you know, when people say, oh, we're going to be going through a recession, people start acting all weird. The recession is not here. Listen, I don't pay attention to that stuff. I don't pay attention to it. If I let those other things influence me, it will change my behavior. Some people say, well, you just can't make a decision like that, like none of that's going to matter to you. Oh, really? You should try it sometime. Well, you should care. It's not a matter that I don't care. It's a matter of, what does that have to do with where I'm going? There's so much that this next year you can make a shift for yourself right now to say, this is what I want to bring in the world. You got to learn to love yourself and your idea. I used to love it when Bob Proctor would say, you got to fall in love with you and your goal. And you just got to be able to look at yourself and just kiss yourself of how wonderful you think and how you, and I just, everyone just kiss your hand. I love myself. I love myself. And I am going to put myself first. I am going to. Because guess what? If you learn to put yourself first, guess what you do for other people? You allow other people to put themselves first. I understand where you're going, what you're going through. I want to support you in your decision. When you start standing up for yourself and say, this is a direction that I want to go, you know what? You give other people the opportunity to do that as well. When I'm so worried or concerned what other people will think about what I'm doing, if I'm so concerned, what are they going to think about me? Guess what? I'm betraying my own potential. I am betraying my own potential in where I want to go because I'm more concerned about what you think about me than what I think about myself and my own goal. You know, there were periods of time where, as I was going after my goal, it would make people around me not happy with me because I wasn't doing what they wanted me to do. And they were really great reminders of, if I do that, then what happens to my goal? Who's attending my goal? If I'm not attending my goal, who is attending my goal? There's no one else who can bring about your goal but you. Nobody else. Nobody else can bring the lifestyle that you want to bring into the world the way you want to bring it. No one else goes to bed thinking about my goal like I do. I mean, nobody. I think about my goal all the time. Matt doesn't think about my goal, as nice as he is. And I mean, he's really great. But he doesn't think about my goal like I think about my goal. Paula has a goal. She thinks about her goal more than I will ever give attention to her goal. But when she talks about how much her goal means to her, I'm like, I get it. What can I do to support you on your goal? I'll do whatever it takes. When I talk with people or work with people and they tell me about their goal, man, I love learning about other people's goals. Not because I'm going to achieve them, but because I know they can. Why? Because I achieve my goal and I watch other people achieve their goals. What happens if this is the year for you to achieve your goal? And it all comes down to, what do I put my attention to? Remember, I was telling you we were going to have this really great speaker, Heidi Rome, come and talk? Well, I would love Heidi Rome to come up and share the stage with me real quick. I'm just going to pin both of us here. Let's see. How do I, maybe Matt can help me with that. There we go. So Heidi, whoops, I want to pin both Heidi and I. Can I pin both of us?
You are.
There we go. There we go. So Heidi is Heidi is, well, first of all, I think she's just an absolute genius. But we were in a class yesterday, and she was talking about an idea. She was presenting to us an idea, and I just thought it was so fabulous. And I asked her if she could share it because it really affected me in thinking about 2024, some of my relationships, and how relationships, I think for me, is something that I love my family. And sometimes I'm not sure how to handle my family or relationships. And so I asked her if she could come and share a little bit. So Heidi, can you tell us just a little bit about your background?
Well, sure. I've always been a seeker. I've always been wanting to know more about myself, and my background has been pre a certain key event, pretty traditional career, working, all that. And I was a late single, married late, had children late, and but all was going well, had the career, had the family. And then my younger son, when I had my younger son, Ethan, he was diagnosed with severe autism. And that kind of was the curveball, that a life detour that changed the script for me and really put me on a different journey, of living and of self-discovery and of caring for a special needs kid. So in a nutshell, that's the background.
Yeah. And so you helping people, I would love for you to just do a little, give us a little talk about your idea. I really, really love it. Yeah.
Yeah, well, you have some of the context now. So I've learned so much. Ethan has been an amazing teacher to me. Ethan has severe autism, which is the end of the spectrum that doesn't get a lot of media attention. It's not the Elon Musk and the quirky people. It is the other side that is very hidden away. These are people, most of whom do not speak or have very minimal language, and there's a lot of disruptive behaviors because their bodies are out of sync. They're not wired typically with the brain and the body and the nervous system. So there are a lot of behaviors, and there are a lot of social implications, medical implications, educational, social, all kinds of stuff. And so that journey has really been something. And in this journey, I've come to identify a number of principles that, ironically, or not so ironically, are very similar to the work that we do with you in Elevate You Institute, because it really has been a journey of elevating myself, in service to Ethan, and in being of service to Ethan, being of service to myself and my own purpose. And so I've come to see that a lot of the wisdom, on the journey is wisdom. It's when I speak with people, I say, do you think I'm here to give you more information that you've never heard before, that is going to be brand new and you're going to take all kinds of notes? And most people say, yes, we're here because we have to be. And, yeah, we're going to learn something new. How boring. And I'm like, well, guess what? Everything I say to you, none of it is new. I am here to remind you of what you already know, of what is already embedded within your heart, your knowing, every cell of your body. You were born with this wisdom, and I'm here to remind you. And most people don't believe that, because we don't believe that that inner wisdom, that still voice within us, actually is powerful, actually is true. And we live in an environment where we learn not to trust ourselves, and we look to outside experts. You must know better than I do. You must know better. You're the expert, not me. What I think doesn't really matter. What I feel doesn't really matter, because you must know better than I do. And certainly this was true for me on the autism journey, where you have a kid with a significant need. And I had a narrative kind of running in the background that if I was going to be a good mother, that my job was to fix my broken son, that he was broken, and it was my destiny, therefore, to fix him. And that must be what I'm meant to do. And I will be judged as a good mother or bad mother based on my ability to heal his autism. And so I was on that path for a really long time, having this goal, gonna fix, and nothing I did fixed anything. And I was in pursuit of this, and there were all these disruptive energies around it. And that were telling me, don't trust yourself, don't trust yourself. And I was doing all kinds of things that I was like, I don't know if this is a good idea. And I was flying across the country and spending money, borrowing money, any therapy, anything, none of which helped. And it was in a realization at some point that I have this situation, kind of the serenity prayer, that I cannot change. And my opportunity in this is whether to react or respond to it. I couldn't change what it was. So am I going to be a puddle on the floor around it, as I was, or be a hero on my journey and say, what can I do? What is going on here to bring peace to this situation? And so in looking at Ethan, and he still has the autism, I had a choice, and I realized I had a choice. I thought I didn't have a choice. No, I didn't have to buy into good mother is to fix him. What if the opportunity was, how do I view this challenge, this hard thing? And so do I respond or do I react? Because the fact is, behavior is communication. And this is true of all living things, not just people with autism, every human, every living thing, actually, animals, plants, behavior. Every behavior has a reason for being. If there were no reason for it, a justification, it would not exist, because the behavior is a messenger, is a symptom of a need that needs to be met. And I realized, well, if I choose to look at behavior as communication, it changes everything, because I come to realize if I witness someone having, let's say, a disruptive episode, a meltdown, the opportunity is to say, this child is not giving me a hard time. They're having a hard time. I get to choose my perspective on what's happening in front of me. I get to choose fear or love, and I choose who to be in the face of it. Am I going to be, I'm angry, I'm the judge, this is bad? Or do I come from seeking to understand, to truly be a good mother and say, okay, how can I be of service? What is the need? And seek to understand and calm the situation. He didn't wake up one day and say, I'm going to give mom a hard time today. Here's the situation. How do I respond? His amygdala, the primitive part of the brain, is in fear. He's stuck in fear. Do I respond fear to fear, an eye for an eye? Or do I say, wait, this is someone in distress? And because all regulation is co-regulation, we're all connected, we're all one, energetically, we are together. If someone is in distress, we can help calm him or her. If we take responsibility and accountability for our own energy, our own perspective, our own feelings, and take a breath and return to that inner wisdom, that inner knowing. And it does begin to calm the waters, to look at and to suggest, when we remember who to be, we figure out what to do. The what to do shows up in the power of the choice of who to be, of where to come from, love or fear. I'll give you a quick story about this power. I had gone to visit Ethan. He actually attends a school out of state for kids with severe autism because he requires 24/7 support. And I had gone to visit him. This was a few years ago on his birthday. And they had arranged, mom and kid time to have fun. His birthday's October. So we went out, we gathered leaves and sticks, and, we were going to trace leaves with crayons, which I love doing. And they brought us to this gym. It was a huge room. And I'm on one side on a mat and I'm tracing leaves, and Ethan is on the other side of the room and he's breaking sticks, and we're having a great time alone in this huge room. And he's across the room. Like I said, he went there. And then at some point he was done breaking the sticks, and he did something that he has done before, and he did it this time. And he took off his sneakers and his socks, and he began to smell his feet. Now, this was his 14th birthday. And I felt myself react. I totally reacted. Oh my God, that's so weird. Why is he doing that? I wish he'd stop it. He does it all the time. And oh my God, what if someone walks in? What will they think? Why am I not controlling this? And I felt myself churn. And then I stopped myself. I recognized that I was reacting. My body was reacting. And I took a breath and I thought, I'm not going there. And I thought, Heidi, you flew here today to be with your wonderful son on his birthday, to celebrate him. And he has these chubby cheeks you just want to grab. And Ethan has a laugh that when he laughs, people turn around. What's that? What's that sound? That gorgeous laughter. And I thought, you're here with him and you love him so much. And just focus on that. And who cares if he smells his feet? And by the way, we all smell our feet. We're usually in the bathroom when we do it. But we do all do it, don't we? It's okay. And just be with him. And I had that thought and I felt my body relax. And I sat there. I don't know how much time went by. It was kind of timeless time. Ethan across the room gets up, crosses this huge gym, sits down next to me on the mat, and he put his head in my lap. And I remember thinking, if time stops right now, it's okay.
Yeah.
The love was in that moment. And he felt it. I share that story with you because this work is practical. This work heals relationship. My job was never to fix him. He wasn't broken.
Yeah.
My perception what was broken. He wasn't broken. My job was not to fix him. My job was to just love and accept him for the wonderful human he is, and accept that my path is my path and his path is his path. And I needed to take a breath and recognize that. And in doing that and staying in my lane, I could begin to heal our relationship and not push him away. And that is the opportunity that we have, is to set in order the priority, the essential versus the incidental, Angie, that you talked about. Focus on what's important. Focus on what would you love. I would love a close connection and loving relationship with my son to whatever his ability is, which for another day is huge. He has, even though he can't speak, through typing, he's revealed an intellect and spiritual connection that is beyond amazing. So don't judge a book by its cover. The truth is often not what it appears to be. So this is the opportunity for all of us in any moment. If we see someone in distress, my friend needs help. how can I be of service? And have that be our perspective. If we're in need, oh, how can I be of service to myself? What do I need? Approach all of these challenges with love and be still and listen to the solution that is right in front of you. When you focus on that solution, not the situation is the incidental, the solution is the essential. It's when we remember that and come from love and come into that knowing of I am love, I am who I choose to be, that the solutions show up to virtually everything that's in front of us, there in front of us, ours for the taking.
Yeah. Man, that's so good, Heidi. Oh, that was just, I really appreciate that, of understanding when we're reacting to something and we see something and we judge it and we're not aware that we're judging it, and we can feel our body tighten up. We can feel things that are happening, and it's in that moment that we can stop judging ourselves and we can just say, okay, I just love that when you said that. When something's happened, what does my friend need? Or looking at your son, what does my son need? Like, I can tell you, having daughters in their 20s, I can just tell you there's moments and they're bringing their own independence into light, and it's learning to release. I'm not their mommy anymore, and there's things that they do and I think, oh, you shouldn't do that. And there's times where I just have to say, no, my job is just to love you. My job is not to react to your behavior. It's just to love you. And, my friend needs help. How can I offer help or support? What do they need? And how can I help them get that solution? I'm not their solution. I'm there to help them have their solution.
Yes, we're the guide on the hero's journey,
Yeah,
not the hero in someone else's story.
that's right. That is so right. You have so much wisdom, and, you've had this, you and I were talking the other day, and I can't remember what we said, but you said something, I've had to learn to deal with this problem. And I was like, no, you were given this amazing gift to come and talk to us about there are different ways to communicate. There's different ways to help people in need without having to be their solution. How can I help them find their solution? And so in that moment, for whatever, if you even think about Ethan with his feet, for whatever reason, that was his solution for right there. For
Yes.
right there, that was. And because he got that space to be who he needed to be, that love was felt because that person got to be who he needed to be in the moment. And you got to be the person you needed to be, which was you're letting go. You're letting go. And that's such a beautiful awareness that I don't need to judge that. I can just love them right there where they are. And that's good. That's just good.
The awareness that the judgment pushes away,
Yeah.
and the acceptance and love attracts in what we want. Whatever it is, whether it's love in a situation or it's a solution to a business problem, it's the resistance that pushes away. This should not be this way. Is an energy of pushing and constriction, as opposed to, let's just see what comes in, and then trust our discernment.
Yeah.
And the new awareness, and just the being aware without judgment. And
Yeah.
Angie, I know we've spoken about this a lot. I grew up and deal with a lot of self-judgment,
Yeah.
wanting to get it right, this perfectionism, and oh my God, did I make a mistake? And the awareness that that is a part of me, an old way of thinking, an old habit that, gee, maybe it's time to break and change and replace with a different one. That if I had just said I shouldn't be judging Ethan, but didn't replace it with,
I love him.
the acceptance, and I love him, and that's my focus. You know, there's this wonder, I don't know if you can see, I'll share, I don't know if you ever saw this diagram.
Life is beautiful when you know what to look at and what to ignore.
And you see
Yes.
the two prisoners are painting the same view. One
Yes.
sees the bars and one sees the landscape.
Yeah.
So I, in every moment, to be aware and say, what am I choosing? What am I choosing bars or landscape? Am I choosing judgment or love?
So beautiful. I sincerely thank you for coming on and sharing your story and, letting us sort of feel what you were feeling. And what a beautiful story. I want to thank you so much, Heidi. That was just brilliant. Thank you. If you don't know Heidi, you want to get to know her. Trust me, you want to. And I understand you had a book that came out yesterday. You were
I
part of
I
a group.
I
Yeah, tell
was.
us
Yeah.
about it.
Well, yeah, this book is, I don't know if you can see, it's
Yeah.
superheroes on the spectrum. And there are 33 contributors to this book. And I was one of them, and it was wonderful. And then, but I mentioned Ethan to you. I wrote a book about the journey with him and a lot of the things I talked about today. And it's called You Just Have to Love Me,
Okay.
because that Ethan typed that to me when I had asked him, what can I do to help you on the journey? You know, helicopter mom, like, let me come in and fix everything. And his response was, well, first, his response was, I have to fulfill my journey as prescribed by God.
Yeah.
Like, well, I don't like that answer because that's nice, but what about what I do? So I asked him again, okay, but what do how can I help you? And his response was, you just have to love me. And that is your job. The rest is my job to do.
Yes.
So that
Love that.
gave me an attitude adjustment.
No kidding. Yeah. You know what I really love about that? Because we don't ever think about it because we think we're helping, but actually sometimes we're betraying their own potential to do something because we come in and we interrupt it with our agenda and how we think it needs to be dealt with. And really, there's so many times where I think I'm helping somebody, but I actually believe they can't solve it. So then I jump in there to solve it. And I betray their potential and I take away from my own self. And it's just, man, if I'm feeling that way, I got to jump in here and help you because you can't figure out the solution for yourself. Then I have a belief
Yeah.
about myself as well. I don't believe I can do it. What
Yeah.
would happen if we could change that? Yeah.
Everything then can happen.
Yeah, everything can happen.
Everything can happen.
Thank you, Heidi. I appreciate it. Let's give
Okay.
Heidi a hand. That was just so
Oh,
good. So,
thank
so
you.
good. Thank you. Thank you so much. What I would love to do is be able to, let's see, I'm just gonna, I don't know how to, there we go. There we go. What I really loved about Heidi's story, it was so good. I think you can buy it on Amazon.com. There we go. Yeah, I'll put it in there. So good. Communication, I think, is such a big thing as you are going through, as you're going through this next year, is to notice communication, how people are communicating with you and how you're communicating with others. And that idea of understanding when it comes to your goal, that's an essential. And then the idea, the energy that's around it is an incidental. And you got to put that order in place for yourself. You've got to be able to say, this is my goal and this is what's really important. How many of you, when we were going through the months yesterday, you kind of felt this little kick about your goal and you're like, oh, what does she mean about my goal? Talking about my goal every month, what were you doing about your goal during this month? How were you thinking about it? And, I started really realizing that no one is going to bring my goal forward but me, but I'm so caught up in everyone else's energy that I don't know how to see my own goal for myself. You know what? I have this big picture window that I can look out and it's got a beautiful view. And one day I was looking out and the sun was shining and I was looking out and noticing the view. And all of a sudden I saw that a bird went on the window. And all of a sudden, all I could see was that spot on the window. That's it. It was so funny because I came walking into my office this morning and there was a print on the window of a bird that was flying and must have flown into the grass or glass. And it's an outline of the bird. And I was like, oh, that poor bird. And I went and I looked, for the bird to see where it was. But I can tell you, it's when I look through the glass that sometimes I notice problems on the glass. When I'm looking through it, sometimes I can notice problems. And I think sometimes when we're going after our goal to look at this beautiful view, sometimes we get caught on the little specks of dust or the little specks of things on the glass that we don't see any longer, just like how Heidi's picture was. So sometimes when those specks come up, can you stop and say, wow, it is what it is. It is what it is. Can I still look through and see the beauty that's in front of me? Can I still look through that? Or is my eyes just so, and I think so many times we miss the beauty of everything because we get caught on a little trap, a little thing, and that becomes a situation, a problem, and we react to that problem. All of a sudden we can make that problem really, really big where we don't see through the window and the beautiful view. If I had two gift bags, one giant gift bag, and I had one tiny gift bag, do you know I could make that tiny gift bag look bigger than the big one? I could put the big bag way, 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 way far, and I could put the little bag right here. And it looks as if that little bag is bigger than the one that's way far away. All the beautiful things or all the small problems, all the stories that we tell ourselves may fit into that little bag, things that we need to work on. And all the wonderful things we want can be in that big gift bag. But we'll push that big gift bag away and we'll put all of our problems right in front of us. And we can't see anything past those problems that are in that little bag. Our problems may seem really big because we've lost perspective of things in life. We've lost perspective that what I really want and all the good things about myself. When is the last time you were just grateful for you and the things that you've created? I would love for us right now to write out a list of things that you're grateful for that you have created. You have created. You don't live in a house. You've created a home. You aren't married to someone. You've built a relationship. You don't have, I don't want you to be grateful for your clothes. You found a way to express yourself. Do you know what I mean? It's just looking at it from a different perspective. Can you look at all the things you've created in your life right now? Your home, your children, those things are things that you've created. Can we find just a moment to write those out in a way of being grateful for you, of what you've created and surrounded yourself with? So I'm just going to put on some music and we'll just do a little bit of gratitude. At the top of the paper, I would write, I am so happy and grateful now that I'm aware of all I have created. Let's just spend a few moments on that. I'll put on some great music here.
Wild summer gone, floating over water at the break of dawn, breathing in the warmth of the winter sun. Wild summer gone.
So all of those things that you wrote on your list, are you surprised by some of the things you wrote on your list that you've created and you never really looked at it and said, wow, I have done some pretty amazing things. I'm really grateful for the things that I have around me. I even put my pet on there. I was kind of shocked that I was like, this makes my life really rich, is my cat BB, and I was really grateful for her. What would happen if you began to be grateful for the things that you have and you started working more on that? I can tell you some of the things that I put on my list have nothing to do with money, has nothing to do with a bunch of things that I spend my time and energy on. It was about relationships and my home and how I feel about the things that I've created, and those things are wonderful. I'm grateful for my ability to be so creative I really love my marvelous mind and how I think, and I bet you feel the same way. And if there's things that you want to create more for yourself, look at the things that you've done so far and take them further. Concentrate on, I am the creator of all of these things. You know what? We'll praise things like a new car or a new house, or, we'll talk about those things, how wonderful those things are. Those are all inanimate objects. And the only reason they're around you is because you've drawn them to yourself, which is great. But those things don't draw you to them. You draw them to you. But when it comes to a relationship, relationships, they are drawn to you. I'm so grateful for my daughters and my husband and relationships, clients that I have. I'm so grateful for that. What would happen if that feeling of supporting others and they support you, what would happen if you took more of that with you in the year? And you really were grateful for everything that you've created so far, and you want to bring more of that into the world for yourself. Some of you may have a goal to bring more money because you want to do more beautiful things with your family or your friends, or even for you. Man, I was at the top of the list. I really like me. I really like the person that I'm becoming. I feel like I'm aging backwards. I feel younger. I look younger because I'm really doing things that I love to express and I love to do. So we've talked about a few laws to help us. One of the laws we talked about was the law of polarity. It just is. We can see it. If we're seeing it over here, no more effort is required for us to be able to see it over here. What would happen if we started refocusing our attention? We learned about the law of relativity, that I can look forward to where I want to go, but I can look back and see how far I've come. It's all relative. Sometimes when I really have a big problem, or I think I'm having a really big problem, or I'm afraid to take action towards something, I'll tell myself, this is what I do to make the scariness go away. I make it relative to something else. Is anybody going to lose an arm or a leg? Will a village burn down? Is a child going to be harmed? And so all of a sudden, my feeling about it, my big feeling that I was having, all of a sudden, compared to that, my feeling kind of goes away. And it's like, you're just a little nervous to do this. That's okay. Step out. Step out towards what I want. Neutralize the feeling a bit and step out towards where I want to go. The other law that I talked about, I want to talk about, is the law of rhythm, where things go up and down. When the tide goes out, what appears? More shoreline. When the tide goes out, there's more shoreline. But guess what? The tide will come in. Guess what you have now? More water to deal with. If I'm constantly looking at it, oh, look at the water went out. Oh, look at the shore disappeared. Do you see what happens? You get into this resistance of how to look at life. I always find it interesting when I ask somebody, do you want to go to lunch, or do you have time for this? I can't. I have something at 1:00. Well, what would happen if we met at 11? Oh, I can do that. People will tell you what they can't do all the time, but they don't say what they can do. Do you ever notice that? What would happen this year is that if you said, not, I can't do that, but would it be better if we could do it here? Because no matter what, if you are in this state of a constant, I can't do it, I'm not able to do it, what would happen if you said, what would happen if I could do it? What would happen if you were somebody who looked for solutions instead of situations? What would happen if I could? What would that feel like if I could? Sometimes people go and take action even before they stop and think, what kind of experience they're going to have as they go through it. They're probably letting an old program run through of worry, fear, and doubt as they go and take action. I've heard this so many times. All I need to do is take action toward my goal. I think one of the reasons we stop ourselves toward our goal is because we have a negative feeling about it. We're worried about it in some ways. What would happen if you could say, wait a minute, if my success is guaranteed, what else could I do to have that work out? How could I experience it in a new and better way? Just these ideas of putting yourself in a really beautiful spot every day to say, you know what, every day I want to find something that I'm grateful for. I want to put out a little bit of a challenge here to see if you want to participate. What would happen if you put out 1,000 gratitudes this next year? 1,000 gratitudes. What would happen if you made the decision this year, I'm going to find 1,000 things to be grateful for in my awareness? You know what? If I like doing the calculator, let's do the calculator. I have my little handy dandy calculator, and I take 1,000 and I divide that by, let's say 12 weeks, 12 months, 12 months. 12 months, 83 things to be grateful for in a month. That kind of seems hard. Well, let's take that and divide that into four weeks. So divide by 4 weeks. That's only 20 things to be grateful for in a week. Well, that doesn't seem too hard. Well, what would happen if we divided that by 7 days? Divide by 7. Well, I would only need to put 2.9 things down a day. What would happen if you could be grateful for 3 things every day? Do you know what you would have after 1 year? 1,000 gratitudes. I mean, I love doing math. I don't know about you, but I love taking something that feels really big and just making it really small. What would happen if it was really easy? This is where people say, I want ease and flow. Well, you have to have an effective awareness. Does doing 1,000 gratitudes feel easier, or does 2.3, let's say 2.9, three things, does doing three gratitudes a day feel easier than 1,000? Which feels easier? Well, when I think about the 3. When I think about the 3, it's much easier. You know what that's called for that ease and flow? Effective awareness. It's an effective awareness. How do I make something look easier? Instead, we look at the 1,000 and we think 1,000 gratitudes in a year. Oh my word, that seems enormous. But we break it down and it's only 3. What would happen if your goal, you broke it down to make it really, really small? What is the true cause and effect? To make 1,000 gratitudes is just doing 3 gratitudes a day. What would happen if you decided that you wanted to take that number and you wanted to apply it to, like, let's say a financial goal? Could you break that financial goal that you wanted to make in a year and break it down to something that you do every day? What would happen if you could make 20,000 a month look small? What would happen if you could fall in love with a way where you made 20,000 a month look small? Or 30,000 or 50,000 or 100,000? Do you think you could make the math make something look small instead of so big? I've often heard the idea, how do you eat an elephant? 1 bite at a time. I think sometimes we react to the big thought of things and then we are like, oh, I can't do it. What would happen if you just started breaking down things in the moment to really be present through the year and say, I would love to experience joy? Could you remind yourself to live in joy and gratitude for the year? I bet it would change your life if you did that. Most of us, we anticipate problems, we have worry, we have doubt, and that's how we go through our year. What would happen if you said, this year, I want to do joy and gratitude? And you will be surprised at what you will attract to yourself this year. Just doing a small thing in a big way every day. You will be shocked at what you will attract to yourself. So, how do you want to start 2024? I'm not here to say, write down a goal and let's get a number to it. And how many things are you going to do? I'm just talking about a feeling. What kind of feeling do you want to have? Do you want to document that feeling through the year? Take more pictures. Take more pictures of your family. Take more pictures of things you enjoy. Take more pictures of jumping out of a plane, Mikhail. Take more pictures of the moon this year. Take more pictures of going out with your family. Take more pictures of things that you love. Take more pictures of leaves. Take more pictures of plants. Take more pictures of flowers. Buy yourself flowers. Do things that make you feel good and happy, and you'll be surprised at what you'll attract to yourself this year. 2024 is going to be a great year. What would happen if you chose a word today? I want this word to be my word for 2024. Sometimes people pick things like, I want to have, I want to be conquering. I want success to be my word. You know what? You attract those things. What could you do in your attraction for success? What word feels good to attract the thing that you want, the success that you want? What's the word that you would like? If you want to, you could share some of your thoughts in the chat. And you know what? It might inspire us. It might inspire us. Peace and joy. I love that. I totally hear that. Yeah. Anyone else? Receivership and love. Oh, so good. So good. What do we mean by receivership? I was going to talk about this, but I couldn't figure out how to get the last little part that I want to talk about gestation. We did talk about gestation, but gestation, it's interesting when you think about receivership. Everyone wants to receive their goal. Every single person wants to receive their goal, but they're not in the habit of receivership. And receivership is feedback. We're not in the habit of the feedback. Order and serenity. I love that, Jody. Yeah. I want to have order and serenity. Yeah. In masculine and feminine energy, masculine energy is like, sperm, if you want to think about it, male energy, sperm energy, it's moving forward, it's going forward. And feminine energy is like the egg, where it just is in receivership. And you need both the sperm and the egg in order to create something new, to create a new form of life. So it's putting the masculine, and we're really good at giving and giving and giving, and we're shooting it out and shooting it out. But are we really good at receivership? Are we really good at the feedback when we do something and we may have a fail about it? Do we take a moment to receive, what did I do well here? What did I learn? And now what am I willing to implement? Those three questions I ask myself really often, especially as I'm growing in something, a new idea. In this new year, man, what would happen if you got in the habit of asking yourself, what did I do well? When I stepped out, what did I do well? What did I learn about myself? And now what am I willing to implement? That is a good habit for receivership for 2024. Keep to the vision of what you want and build a spiritual practice of being in gratitude and in joy and in receivership. So when something shows up that's the polar opposite, that's where you get to say, you know what? I can think about this in a different way. Well, I want to thank you all so much for coming on. I do have a little bit of a bonus offer if you would love to go further with us. If this really helped you for the year and helped you close out this year to be grateful and look forward to next year, that's great. If you would like some more support or help through that, I have a bonus. I am going to be doing a webinar this Tuesday at, let's see, what time is it? It's 11 o'clock Eastern. No, 11 o'clock Pacific. So that would be 2 o'clock Eastern time. And so we're going to be putting a link here for you to come in and join our webinar. We would love for you to come as a bonus round. I would love for you to be able to. You can register, and I think somebody's putting a link in. Do I have that right? Yeah. There's a link for the bonus round. You can go ahead and register for that, and they'll send you an email for that. So it's 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. in the UK. And we would love for you to come and join us with that. You know, my goal is to help people just achieve whatever it is that they want in the world. Whatever it is that you want, whatever you want to have or experience, if I can show you a way that you can get it, I would love for you to join us. So I want to thank you so much. I want to thank Heidi for coming on. That was so beautiful. Thank you, Matt, for all of the work that you did and for the videos. And I want to thank you for coming on and making this such a special event. I really am grateful for all of you. And I just want to thank you all for taking the time. And you know, I would love for you to come in. If you're not in our Facebook group, we have a really great Facebook group called Elevate You Institute, and you can come in and be a part of our Facebook group. I try and go in there every Monday. Sometimes I'm a little late, but I try and go in on every Monday. And I also have a podcast called Elevated Insights that I do with my dear friend Val Hunting. And so you can go, I think it's just on pretty much any podcasting thing. It's called Elevated Insights, but you can also, I think, put in Angie Tumlinson and you'll be able to find me. And I have a website, angietumlinson.com. So there's lots of ways you can connect with us. If you want to have some more help or you want to talk about anything at all, we are here. I know sometimes holidays can be a lot to take in. So we're here if you need any support at all. And I think we have a link for you to contact us. Yep. So if you fill that out, we can get right back to you. And so I want to thank my team, Matt and Paula and Consera, for coming on. And I'm not sure if I'm not really sure. No, I think she's gone. Why can't I think of her name? My head is just swimming, so I can't think of all the names right now. What is wrong with me? Anyway, doesn't matter. But thank you all so much. Have a great Christmas holiday. Just enjoy the month of December. Be in your winter time of reflection and see yourself going into the spring. Okay, take care, everyone. Have a great day. Matt, do you have a song to play us out with? Oh, I'm sharing mine. Yeah, there we go.
I love me. I love me. I don't know about you, but baby, I love me. Now everybody say, oh, I love me. I love me.
They gon' say all kinds of things. They'll gon' try to clip my wings, but I'm gon' fly. They'll try to play me like a game. I'm rather too scared of the fame. But I can see it clear when I'm looking in the mirror saying, God made me just right.
I love me. I love me. I don't know about you, but baby, I love me.
Now everybody say,
Oh, I love me. I love me. 'Cause I'm sexy and it ain't my fault. I ain't waiting on nobody's call. You don't want me, baby, that's your loss. I'll be fine.
I'll be fine.
And you can tell by the way I talk. And you can tell by the way I walk. That
I can see it clear when I'm looking in the mirror saying, God made me just right.
Oh, I love me. Hey. I love me. I don't know about you, but baby, I love me. Now everybody say, oh, I love me. I love me.
That's right. Say.
I don't mean to brag, I don't mean to boast. I love all y'all, but I love me the most.
I don't mean to brag, I don't mean to boast. I love all y'all, but I love me the most. Go raise a glass, give yourself a toast. I love all y'all, but I love me the most. I don't mean to brag, I don't mean to boast. I love all y'all.
But I love me.